Double Daddy, from the Denver Post, September 5, 1999, by Penny Parker. They struggle between the responsibilities of work and the needs of their families. They have demanding jobs. They have children. In some cases, they go to work before dawn or take work home. They race home to make it in time for their child's game or play or concert. They worry that a business trip might take them away on their son or daughter's birthday. And surprise, they're men. The supermom syndrome has jumped genders. Now it's working men who also want to be great fathers. What has changed to make the working dad's life more stressful? More is expected of fathers at home these days, and they expect more of themselves, but the demands of the workplace have, if anything, increased in recent years. The phenomenon of daddy stress, as Forbes magazine dubbed it in a recent cover story, affects men from the executive office to the rank and file, and while a growing number of single dads may feel it most, married fathers are hardly immune. It's a familiar theme to women and not to men, and not to men's employers, said Linda Dunlap, chairwoman of the psychology department at Marist College in Poughkeepsie, New York, and an expert on families. These men are saying, I'm working my tail off to get ahead for the most part for my family, but I'm not spending time with my family. This doesn't make sense. Ryan Streeter, a research fellow in the Welfare Policy Center at Hudson Institute in Indianapolis, calls the growing trend of men examining their roles as fathers a national movement. There's been an increasing amount of literature, events, commercials, and public service announcements around the country in the last 5 years that have targeted the need for fathers to be engaged in their children's lives, Streeter said. A group of largely men said it's time to take responsibility for their children not only economically, but emotionally and spiritually. There's a national consciousness around this matter. The next step has to be a shift in the workplace mentality that says it's okay for a woman to take time off to stay home with a sick child or attend a child's football game, but it's not okay for a dad to do the same thing. It's popular to say there needs to be workplace flexibility for men, Streeter said, but in general, corporations have the expectation for men to put business over family. Brian Wills never set out to become a stay-at-home dad. It just worked out that way. When he left his job in the marketing department of the Denver Rocky Mountain News 2.5 years ago, Wills says he thought he'd pick up work as a freelance copywriter for a while until a regular job came his way. But because he was at home, Wills started plugging into more parts of his 3 children's lives. Now he's so engaged with their schedules and activities that he says he'd never go back to the corporate world. On a typical recent day, Will's focus was ferrets. His 11-year-old daughter Ashley wanted to take her ferrets to school for show and tell, and Will's job was to ferry the ferrets back and forth. A single dad who is remarried, Wills shares parental time and responsibilities with his ex-wife, who lives 2 miles away. 3 mornings a week, Wills and his oldest son, Eric, 15, work out at a health club together. That started to become a real important time of dialogue between us and has remained that, Wills said. Once a week, Wills picks up Ashley at school and takes her out to lunch. After school, Will watches his sons, Eric and Ben, 12, practice in their rock band. They call me their band manager, Wills said, with more than a hint of pride. Wills said he did time in the corporate rat race. In my 20s, I really wanted to succeed in my job, he said. I had a company car by the time I was 30. I was traveling a lot and never seeing my kids. Now it's become really precious for me in the sense that I know it's going to be somewhat short-lived. Wills said he's gotten over his fear of being a freelancer, where he can't count on a regular income. I have a much greater fear about going into a stable income environment and losing time with my kids, he says. That scares me way more.